It claims to show a screenshot of a 2002 episode of The Simpsons that eerily mirrors real-life events. It shows Donald Trump touching a glowing orb with two Middle Eastern-looking men. Well, last month, President Trump did just that with the King of Saudi Arabia and the President of Egypt. So, did The Simpsons really predict the future?
For over 30 years, The Simpsons has been more than just a funny cartoon. It has shocked fans with predictions that somehow ended up coming true. Now, a new episode has people talking again, with many convinced it has predicted something huge for 2026. From smartwatches to surprising political events, the show has made people wonder if it's just making jokes or if it's secretly telling the future.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we're looking into another alleged prediction by The Simpsons. A video that has gone viral on social media claims The Simpsons predicted the newly released Apple Vision Pro.
Is it just another lucky guess? Or is this part of a strange pattern? What could it mean for everyone? Join us as we reveal what The Simpsons might have predicted for 2026 and how it's got people talking. Alien contact. In the episode The Springfield Files, Homer has a strange encounter with what appears to be an alien sparking chaos throughout the town. While the reveal in the show turns out to be something far less otherworldly, the storyline cleverly captures the public's mix of fascination and fear when faced with the idea of life beyond Earth. What makes this prediction stand out isn't just the presence of aliens, but how accurately it reflects human reaction to the unknown. People in Springfield split into camps, those convinced it's real, those who dismiss it outright, and those who use the situation for personal gain. Doesn't that sound exactly like how society responds to big, unverified events in real life? In recent years, government disclosures and reports of unidentified aerial phenomena have reignited interest in the question of extraterrestrial life. The Simpsons' take might be comedic, but it taps into a serious curiosity, which is quite interesting, as you'll soon see. The curiosity is that, if we ever did make contact, would humanity respond with cooperation and calm, or with confusion and fear? The humor also lies in how quickly the alien encounter becomes a spectacle. Instead of a serious investigation, Springfield spirals into gossip, sensational news, and wild theories. This mirrors the real-world tendency to turn mysteries into entertainment, rather than treating them as opportunities for learning. The show uses this chaos to poke fun at both media and public behavior, making the alien itself almost secondary to the reaction it sparks. If by 2026 an actual alien sighting makes headlines, it's not hard to imagine our real response looking a lot like Springfield's, part wonder, part panic, and a whole lot of noise. Colonization of Mars. Another prediction for 2026 is their take on the colonization of Mars.
Wow, there's Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, Paul McCartney, Michael Jordan, Michelle Kwan.
They must be starting a new civilization on Mars with our best and brightest.
In the 2016 episode The Marge Ian Chronicles, a fictional company called Exploration Incorporated seeks to settle people on the Red Planet by 2026. At first glance, it's just another quirky storyline, but the timing feels eerily close to real-life ambitions by SpaceX and other space agencies. The mix of satire and reality leaves fans wondering if the writers are merely playing with futuristic ideas or accidentally scripting tomorrow's headlines. This blending of fiction and possibility becomes even more compelling when you consider how rapidly space technology has advanced since that episode aired. Back then, a Mars settlement seemed like pure science fiction. Today, it's discussed in serious boardrooms and laboratories. Elon Musk's projections for manned missions within the 2020s have added fuel to the theory that The Simpsons somehow called it years in advance. Could it be that pop culture helps shape public imagination enough to influence real-world goals? The line between inspiration and prediction blurs more than most realize. Beyond the technological excitement, there's also a social and ethical layer to consider. Moving humans to another planet isn't just about building rockets. It's about creating a sustainable way of life in a place where nature offers no welcome mat. The Simpsons may have treated it with humor, but the underlying idea raises real concerns. How will governance work on Mars? Who decides the rules? And more importantly, will we carry the same human flaws to a fresh world we carried here on Earth? Fans also note that The Simpsons' Mars story wasn't about a perfect utopia. It was full of mishaps, clashing personalities, and flawed decision-making. In that way, it mirrored the messiness of human ambition itself. The comedic chaos almost acts as a cautionary tale that just because we can plant a flag somewhere new doesn't mean we're ready to thrive there. After all, history has shown that expansion often comes with unforeseen consequences. And if, come 2026, people really do step onto Martian soil, fans of The Simpsons will be the first to say, with a smirk, "We saw it coming." Microchips implanted in brains, neural interfaces. Following the bold leap from Mars colonization, The Simpsons' second prediction for 2026 takes us from the vastness of space to the deepest realms of the human mind, microchips implanted in brains. In fan circles, this is often linked to technology that could allow people to communicate directly through thoughts, skipping the need for spoken words altogether.
This morning, Elon Musk announcing that for the first time, his company Neuralink has implanted a brain chip in a human. Neuralink's goal is to help paralysis patients communicate by connecting their brain to a computer.
While it sounds like something straight from science fiction, real-world companies such as Neuralink are actively working on neural interfaces, making the idea far less far-fetched than it seemed when the show hinted at it. What makes this so gripping is how close we are to such a future. In the early days, brain chips were an idea reserved for Hollywood thrillers, but today, scientists have already demonstrated implants that help paralyzed patients control devices with their minds. The Simpsons may have exaggerated the convenience and comedy of the concept, but it tapped into an ongoing human desire, cutting out barriers to communication and making interaction almost instantaneous. But if our thoughts could be shared so easily, would that mean the end of privacy as we know it? It gets even more fascinating. Beyond communication, the potential uses for brain implants stretch into medicine, education, and even entertainment. Imagine restoring lost memories, enhancing learning speed, or experiencing virtual worlds directly through your mind. These possibilities are the very things futurists debate, and The Simpsons, in its usual satirical style, managed to put that conversation into living rooms long before many were ready to take it seriously. The humor masks a very real question about how much of our humanity we're willing to merge with machines. Still, the technology isn't without its risks. A world where thoughts can be read or hacked could be as dangerous as it is revolutionary. The Simpsons' tongue-in-cheek portrayal of such tech often included chaos, misunderstandings, and misuse, which mirrors how any powerful tool can go wrong in human hands. As we edge closer to 2026, what was once a cartoon gag could become a living reality. And when it does, you can be sure fans will once again dust off that old episode and say, half-jokingly, "They told us this was coming." A US-China conflict. After diving into the mind-bending concept of brain implants, The Simpsons' next so-called prediction turns our attention to a more down-to-earth yet globally significant subject, which is a possible conflict between the United States and China. While not presented as an official storyline in the series canon,
this Civil War canon has been fully restored and is in ready-to-fire condition.
some fans point to moments of satire and background gags that seem to hint at rising tensions between the two powers. In today's world, where trade disputes, technological competition, and political disagreements are already high, it's easy to see why people draw the connection. The speculation mostly thrives on the fact that The Simpsons has a knack for weaving real-world issues into its comedy, often exaggerating them for laughs but still hitting close to home. Small references, like characters joking about foreign trade or depicting political standoffs, suddenly take on new meaning when viewed in light of current events? Could it be that the writers are not predicting the future, but simply capturing patterns that eventually repeat themselves in history? It's worth noting that tensions between major nations aren't new, and the US-China dynamic has been shifting for decades. The difference now is how quickly news travels and how global economies are tied together more tightly than ever before. A misunderstanding or a sharp policy shift can have ripple effects worldwide. In this light, what once looked like harmless cartoon banter about two nations butting heads might feel uncomfortably relevant in the years leading up to 2026. Still, The Simpsons approaches such heavy topics with a dose of humor that helps soften the edge. The imagined conflicts in the show often spiral into absurdity, filled with over-the-top political figures and outlandish scenarios. This exaggeration is part of what makes the references stick. Viewers remember the laugh, but the underlying theme lingers in the back of their minds. Isn't that the sneakiest way to spark thought about serious matters? This next prediction will equally blow your mind. Solar-powered cars. Coming off the politically charged idea of a US-China conflict, The Simpsons shifts gears into something more futuristic, but far less confrontational: solar-powered cars. In certain episodes, the show has playfully hinted at vehicles running entirely on sunlight, most notably through Lisa's futuristic ride. While these on-screen portrayals were often exaggerated for comedic effect, they tapped into an innovation that is steadily making its way from experimental labs into mainstream discussions, especially as the world looks toward greener energy solutions. The appeal of solar-powered cars lies not only in their eco-friendliness, but also in the vision of a world less dependent on fossil fuels. When The Simpsons introduced the concept, it felt almost whimsical, an idealistic dream rather than a near-term reality. But in recent years, engineers have been building prototypes that can store and use solar energy efficiently enough for real travel. Could a joke from decades ago end up inspiring part of the shift toward sustainable transportation? Beyond the environmental benefits, the idea carries an undeniable sense of freedom. Imagine a car that charges itself while parked in the sun, freeing drivers from constant fuel costs or electric charging stations.
At Georgia Tech, students are designing a solar car that's driving the future of commercial vehicles. Caitlin Ross takes us inside this cutting-edge creation that's getting major automakers' attention.
Yet, just like the show's humorous depictions, the technology still faces hurdles: weather limitations, efficiency issues, and the challenge of making solar panels affordable for everyday consumers. The Simpsons may have skipped over these problems for the sake of storytelling, but they exist in the real world and must be solved before such cars become common. Interestingly, the cartoon often shows these cars not as luxury items, but as practical everyday machines for normal people. This subtle detail shows a deeper hope that clean energy solutions won't remain limited to the wealthy, but will become accessible to all. The message, whether intentional or not, is that innovation should aim to serve everyone, not just a privileged few. And really, what's the point of progress if only a handful can enjoy it? AI takeover and automation risks. From the sunny optimism of solar-powered cars, The Simpsons takes a sharp turn into something far more unsettling: AI takeover and the risks of automation. In episodes like Them Robots Springfield and Itchy and Scratchy Land, the show paints vivid pictures of machines replacing human workers or going completely out of control. While exaggerated for comedy, these storylines echo genuine fears that technology could advance faster than our ability to manage it. The rise of artificial intelligence in real life has already started reshaping industries, from manufacturing to creative work. Automated systems can now handle tasks once thought impossible for machines, and in some cases, they do them better than humans. Yet the question lingers: at what cost? Just as The Simpsons portrayed Springfield's citizens being pushed aside by robots, Some fear that large-scale job losses and the loss of human oversight could become very real problems. Interestingly, the show doesn't only dwell on the dangers, it also pokes fun at our tendency to trust technology without question. Characters often hand over important tasks to machines, only to watch things go horribly wrong. This mirrors our world, where convenience sometimes makes us ignore the risks. The humor works because it's rooted in truth. Technology is only as good as the people who design and control it. But what happens when the technology starts making decisions on its own? The satire also touches on how quickly people adapt to major changes, even unsettling ones. In Them Robot Springfield, residents initially panic at losing their jobs to machines, but eventually grow oddly comfortable with it until the inevitable chaos strikes. It's a subtle nod to how society often accepts new norms faster than it questions them, especially when those norms promise comfort or efficiency. But it doesn't end here. Another pandemic. After exploring the uneasy future of AI and automation, The Simpsons moves into a territory that feels all too familiar: another pandemic. In the 1993 episode Marge in Chains, Springfield is hit by the so-called Osaka flu, which spreads quickly.
A series of images put out online claims to show a 1993 episode in which residents of Springfield experienced various symptoms of the illness, culminating with a news report showing an anchor with coronavirus over his shoulder.
And causes widespread panic. At the time, it was played for laughs, with over-the-top reactions from townsfolk and ridiculous conspiracy theories. But after the events of COVID-19, the storyline has taken on a different weight in the eyes of viewers. What's striking is how the episode mirrors real-world behaviors during outbreaks. People rush to buy unnecessary items, blame outsiders, and search desperately for quick cures. These exaggerated scenes now feel eerily close to what happened during lockdowns and supply shortages. Was this simply clever writing based on human nature? Or did the show tap into something timeless about how people respond to health crises? In many ways, the Osaka flu served as a reminder that pandemics are not a thing of the past, even if the world sometimes acts like they are. Public health experts have long warned that new outbreaks are inevitable, but such warnings often go unheard until disaster strikes. The Simpsons, albeit unintentionally, kept that idea alive in pop culture, planting the thought that large-scale sickness could return at any time. Another layer to the episode's humor is how it pokes fun at misinformation. Characters in Springfield fall for absurd cures and outlandish explanations, showing how fear can cloud judgment. The real world saw the same pattern during COVID-19, with wild rumors spreading online faster than the virus itself. The episode's exaggerated chaos works because it's built on the same human tendency we still see today: our instinct to cling to certainty, even when it's wrong. Looking ahead to 2026, the prediction of another pandemic isn't one anyone hopes comes true. If the future does bring another outbreak, perhaps remembering Springfield's chaos will help us avoid repeating it in reality. Climate catastrophes. From the spread of sickness to the health of the entire planet, The Simpsons transitions into another urgent theme: climate catastrophes. In The Simpsons movie, 2007, Springfield is placed under a massive glass dome after pollution reaches dangerous levels. On the surface, it's an absurd visual gag, but beneath the humor lies a sharp commentary on environmental neglect and the consequences of ignoring warning signs. The image of a town sealed off from the world is extreme, yet it reflects the growing reality of communities cut off by floods, wildfires, and other disasters. Environmental scientists have long warned about tipping points where damage becomes irreversible. The Simpsons may have wrapped the message in slapstick comedy, but the core idea is serious. Our environment can only take so much abuse before it pushes back. But here's something fascinating. Interestingly, the show's portrayal isn't just about nature fighting back, it's also about human denial. In the movie, many characters refuse to see the seriousness of the problem until it's far too late. This mirrors how real societies often delay action, even when the evidence is clear. Why do we act surprised when the consequences arrive after years of ignoring the signs? The satire also highlights how quickly people can shift blame. In Springfield, fingers point everywhere except at the true causes, and proposed solutions are either impractical or laughable. This mirrors real-world climate debates, where politics and profit often outweigh actual environmental progress. The humor stings because it hits so close to the truth. If climate disasters escalate by 2026, that dome might feel less like a joke and more like a metaphor we should have taken seriously. In that way, the movie's over-the-top plot becomes a quiet call to treat environmental warnings as more than just background noise. Virtual weddings and VR social events. The Simpsons moves into another slice of imagined future living, virtual weddings and VR social events. In various episodes, the show has portrayed holographic ceremonies and gatherings held entirely in digital spaces. At the time, it looked like a humorous exaggeration of technological trends, but with the growth of virtual reality platforms, it's beginning to feel like an almost natural extension of modern life. The push toward digital celebrations became especially visible during the COVID-19 pandemic, when lockdowns forced couples and families to find new ways to connect. Video calls became the norm, and some even experimented with VR spaces to make events more immersive. The Simpsons' vision simply takes this one step further, imagining a future where meeting in a physical location is optional, not essential. But would a wedding in the virtual world feel as meaningful as one in the real world? Part of the appeal is the flexibility such events could offer. Friends and family from across the globe could attend without travel costs, and the setting could be anything from a tropical beach to the surface of the moon. No weather concerns, no venue fees, just digital creativity. The humor in The Simpsons often came from taking these possibilities to absurd extremes. Yet those extremes are starting to feel technologically possible. At the same time, the concept raises questions about the emotional depth of digital interactions. The show's playful take hints at both the novelty and the emptiness that might come with replacing physical presence with avatars and headsets. While convenience and imagination are huge advantages, there's still something irreplaceable about the warmth of real human contact. In the end, whether VR weddings and social events become mainstream by 2026 will depend on how much people value experience over tradition. If the trend does take off, The Simpsons will once again be able to claim it gave us an early peek, albeit a tongue-in-cheek one, into how love and friendship might adapt to the digital age. Do you think these predictions are mere guesses or something more to them? Let us know in the comments section. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Remember to like, share it, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.